Okay, we're live. Welcome, weekly roundup, Heart Investment Group. I'm Scott. That's Ben.
Hello.
Busy week, given this shortened week, didn't we? Hey, we're
We
a couple
did.
minutes late here. Just trying to
Mhm.
jam it all in last minute. Give us the recap. What was going on this week?
It's as I start to think about Friday, it's hard to believe that the CPI number came out on Monday of this week.
All right.
So that is
Seems like a
what
month ago.
it does seem like a month ago. So that's as I was recapping the week, that's what I was looking at, thinking about too. Feels like it's been a long time. But Canadian CPI came in lighter than expected, so we were low, heading in the right direction. First time we've had a 2 in front of the CPI number in Canada and since early 2021, almost
Wow.
3 years. Yeah, yeah,
Is it-
yeah. So that was a big deal, really, from what we're gonna do here and what's gonna happen. I've had conversations with people I know at some of the other banks, trying to get a feel for where the other economists might think about where rates are going. And I can't remember a time when the economists of the Canadian banks have been more diverged from the Bank of Canada, where most of them seem to think they're a full 1% higher than they should be right now. So we'll see how that plays out. But most of the economists think things are too tight in Canada.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
What else
So
caught your eye? Anything?
yeah, well, the two other notable things were Nvidia. Looks like it peaked today because it sold off pretty hard, was red. Let me see. I think we finished slightly up on the day, but that one's been interesting. I mean, I think it's extremely overvalued at this point. Good technology, interesting, but I think the momentum has taken it higher. But on a portfolio perspective, Palo Alto networks, which you and I talked about earlier this week. Giant cyber company, super good business, no debt, makes 10 billion a year. But they pivoted and kind of revised their direction a little bit to hopefully put them in a better position longer term. Reminded me a bit of when Facebook did their full pivot there too, put themselves in a better position. Stock got hammered for a while. So Palo Alto Networks was down 30% on Wednesday. So we started to chip away at buying some of that for the growth here clients. So that's up about 15% from where we bought it so far. So good trade on that so far. But market seems like it's quite volatile and crazy, and you see these big giant swings, and sometimes it presents you good opportunities to take advantage of them. So that's uh, that's what I did so far this week.
Amazing. Now, were you able to get a couple of those charts working here, or
Yeah,
had to improvise? Okay, good.
no, I think we're good to go.
Amazing.
Mhm. Just going to share them. Let me see. Let me see. I
Beautiful.
know if you can see it. Yeah,
Dan, looks great.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so there's lots of debate around where we are in the cycle, and I think it's as diverged as we've seen in a long time, where everything seemed to move in tandem until around 2020, and now each country in the world is coming out at a different point. But everyone likes to focus on the U.S. government or U.S. economy, so this was a great slide that Manulife put out, which I thought was interesting and worthwhile to pay attention to just around what happens when we're in a different periods during a recession, prior to a recession. You can argue around whether we're there or not, but how the different investment classes perform in that backdrop. So I think it's good to know just when you're thinking about what you own in the portfolio. And, we own US government bonds across the board. And just when the backdrop, if you look at, given the starting point around where we are in bond yields and rates, in really kind of every backdrop, whether you're ahead of the recession, behind it, you tend to have pretty significant performance from U.S. government bonds in that backdrop. So, and if we are in the recessionary period, as you probably note over here, this is the Canadian dollar going down and bonds going up. So, we tend to line up with that, and National Bank tends to agree with that. We think that Canadian economy is a little bit worse off than the U.S., so probably get a decent boost from U.S. dollars. So, I thought this was a great way to think about it because, we talk about the markets and the economy all at different times. I thought this was a good way to look at how the different asset classes interact in that period. So I referenced this a little bit in the daily today. I think it's noteworthy from the perspective is as you look at really kind of the different areas, the different world we're in. And so I mentioned Stan Druckenmiller and Elliott Management. These are two of some of the most successful investors of all time. I mean, Stan Druckenmiller has never lost money. So he's been managing money for close to 40 years now, and he's never had a calendar year where he's lost money. And so when I think about what he's done and how he does it, he's been buying Tech and Newmont and Barrick and some of the kind of the big cap miners here. You look at Elliott Management, super successful as well. They're launching a billion-dollar fund to focus on mining metals, base metals. And last week, I think I mentioned copper. So, as you look at what some of these bigger investors, long-term investors are doing, start to look at these companies that are down 30, 40, 50% from their highs and saying, maybe there's an opportunity here. Maybe the market's overreacted to that. Some of these companies are looking at the battery areas as well, so lithium, graphite, graphene, stuff like that. But these stocks are extremely depressed, and the valuations on the commodities themselves are a little bit elevated. So interesting point. Thought this grabbed my attention and a bit of a standout there too. So we'll just wrap it up with a little bit of comments just around what's going on in the crypto space, some big companies. We've talked, Scott, you and I, about Galaxy Digital a few times. Had some good conversations with some of their management team as well. This is really the only asset manager that I've seen that's been growing their portfolio in digital assets exclusively. So a publicly traded company in Canada, Galaxy Digital. So they presently have 8 billion in assets under management. This is obviously pretty material. So just when you look at most of the traditional asset managers, they haven't been doing this type of thing. CI, a couple of the other companies have, but Galaxy, publicly traded company, building out this business with a focus really on the institutional investors, and that's where they're getting a lot of flows right now. So another thing that really grabbed my attention this week was how quickly they've been growing over the last 12 months. So went short today, so that's that's it for the slides for the week.
Great. That's my favorite when that happens. I like a few slides.
Yeah.
But the Galaxy one reminded me, actually, I want to talk to you about, it's interesting, I think might be interesting for everybody. In the crypto spaces, last night when I was at the rink, I was talking to one of the other dads who's a director at IBM, and they work on AI called Watson, which is
Yep.
more like an enterprise solution. But he's in charge of the cloud storage for big projects like that. And he said the biggest risk they have right now with AI is people purposely polluting the data to give it misinformation. So, right, they have to store all this somewhere. Right now, it's on the cloud, which is everybody. So, what do you think is one of the solutions for that?
That's a great question.
Blockchain.
That's one of your best questions.
Hey?
Blockchain's a good solution.
Yeah, blockchain,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
when I said that, he was like, "How did you know that?" I said, "Well, been following crypto for quite some time, and it's correct me if I'm wrong, but it's currently undefeated as far as being hacked, right?" So Yeah, that's definitely something IBM is looking into as far as being able to the most secure space for data.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, great point.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a great point. And, as we talk about blockchain and crypto, sometimes people, like it kind of confuse the two of them and don't realize how unique the technology is.
Yeah.
And it can really be a differentiator in a lot of cases. I mean, Watson's also been they were the first AI, and they actually have a couple of ETFs that run on using Watson's AI research. But yeah, blockchain is a great solution. So that's where Ethereum, as we talked about, right, in detail, where we think Ethereum plays and can continue to play a major role because their blockchain is super unique and is a great solution for a lot of people. That one I
Yeah.
hadn't thought of.
Yep.
Yep.
There you go. That's my tidbit of the week. Anything else you're looking at for next week?
So it's a leap year this year, so we got an extra day
Amazing.
on Thursday.
That a
So
good thing or a bad thing? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, some
Depends how
people
your
it'll
year is
be.
going.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I was reading a story though. It said that salaried employees don't realize that they don't actually get paid for Thursday, the 29th.
Oh man.
Uh,
Oh
no,
man.
no, I think nothing really. The Bank of Canada has their meeting ahead on March 6th, so we're 2 weeks out from that. So that'll be worth watching. Right now, there's a 0% chance of a cut or an increase, so 100% probability of a hold unless something material comes out between now and then. But yeah, we'll continue to be watching that. Let's see how stocks react. They were continuing to be quite choppy and volatility is super high. So we'll be watching to see how things play out next week.
Amazing.
Yep.
Okay. Any parting words or is that it?
I'd say the last is certainly related to tax forms, starting to get calls in about taxes. Are they here? Are they not? On your online portal, there is quite a few starting to get populated now, and particularly if you had income from RIFs or lifts. Those are there for the most part that I've seen. T-slips are starting to come out, but it's still early days, so certainly don't panic if nothing's in there. We're still a solid month out before all of these companies are required to send their information out. But it is starting to populate there. If there's something that you can't find, need help with, gain loss report, foreign property, we're going to start sending those out 1st of March. But the tax slips are starting to pop up there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And speaking of leap year, that is also the RSP deadline, so 29th. So
Yep.
there's
Next
any,
Friday.
yep. So if anybody wants to contribute additional funds, please let us know. All right. Well, that's it. I want Ben, I want you to have a great weekend. Okay.
I want you to as well.
Okay, I appreciate it. That's nice. That's a nice way to leave the video. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Take care.